This is Don't Panic, episode number 294, recorded November 23rd, 2020. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Don't Panic, the technology podcast that's always talking turkey. I'm Sean Jennings, joined as always by two guys who make sure to have little buckles on all their hats. It's Colby Rabideau and Dan Miller. Hello, gentlemen.
Hi, Sean.
What?
Hi, Sean.
Did you know that I've never been to Plymouth Rock?
Did you know it's like just a rock? Like you don't have to go to it.
I've never been.
Like you just don't. It's like not required. Like no one's gonna make you do it.
Is that where like the first European settlers arrived?
Right? If the history books will have you believe that, that seems like one of those things that, in retrospect, I don't know if that's actually accurate or
but
not.
Didn't the first what was that mysterious settlement that disappeared?
Jamestown.
Jamestown.
No, that's
isn't
not
that
it.
Roanoke?
Roanoke.
Is it
No,
Roanoke?
Jamestown was very successful, in fact.
Wildly successful.
Right, but wasn't there an earlier one that was not wildly successful? Was wildly unsuccessful?
Yes, Roanoke. They all.
So wait, then what is? Wait, I have no idea what Plymouth Rock is. Then what is it?
Isn't
I
Plymouth
thought that-
Rock and the Mayflower the same?
Yeah, that was where like the New England pilgrims landed, and I don't know, put a plaque on a rock or something.
Yeah. Would you like to know some quick Wikipedia facts about Plymouth Rock?
Wikipedia.
that I
Yes.
just Googled and don't know anything about. Plymouth Rock is the traditional site of the disembarkation of the Mayflower Pilgrims in December of 1620. The Pilgrims did not refer to Plymouth Rock in any of their writings. The first known written reference to the rock dates to 1715, and the first documented claim that it was the landing place was in 1741, 121 years after they arrived. So take that for what it's worth. In 1774, the rock broke in half during an attempt to haul it to the town square in Plymouth. One portion remained in town square, and the other was moved to Pilgrim Hall Museum in 1834. It was later rejoined with the other portion of the rock at its original site on the shore of Plymouth Harbor.
Neat.
There you go.
So it is I've seen it, and it's not even impressive for a rock. Like, it's not even a good rock. Like, it's not particularly big.
Oh yeah.
They etched 1620 into it, but it's just kind of like a rock. Like, if you were on a ship coming up to the shore, you wouldn't be like, hark, there be a rock. Like, it just looks like all the other rocks.
I
But
see.
What do I know?
Oh, that's so boring.
Yeah, isn't it?
The way they talked about it in like third grade, I thought there was something special going on.
Yeah, like most things in U.S. history, it's much lamer than they tell you in the books,
Yeah, alas.
unfortunately. Yeah, so on that riveting note, what's going on, guys? What's the good word? Anything?
Not really. I'm not working this week, which is nice. Also, my internet was out today for 6 hours, which was fine. I truly don't know what I did. Like, I went and got some food, some supplies, cooking supplies, like vegetables, yams, rutabagas.
But not
Brussels
sweet
sprout.
potatoes.
No, gross. I honestly, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I did between the hours of 10 and 2 today. I didn't watch TV because the internet was out.
Yeah, isn't that funny how everything is connected to the internet, so nothing works when there's no internet? I've learned
Yeah.
that lesson.
I can't even turn off my lights.
It's bad.
It's a shame. Actually, the thing that drives me a little bonkers is that my internet was out, right? So it was like the connection to the greater internet, but like the Wi-Fi in my house still works. But like, so I can like, I could like stream a podcast over 3G, but I can't broadcast that podcast to the speakers in my home because to be to broadcast to my speakers, I need to be on the Wi-Fi, but my phone is too dumb to like use the data from the cellular, but also be on the Wi-Fi. I think. The point is, I wish it weren't.
Technically not that dumb, right? Because wasn't there some? Isn't there some like smart?
Maybe
There, like
there is a thing that pops up sometimes that says, "This is my internet going out for hours at a time has been a somewhat regular occurrence, like monthly occurrence lately."
Yikes.
Yeah. But sometimes there is a thing that says, like, it seems like you have no internet connection. Do you want to switch to cellular? But I don't know what happens when you press that button. Like, I don't know.
Wi-Fi assist.
What's that?
If you're using Safari with a poor Wi-Fi connection and a web page doesn't load, this is a for instance. Wi-Fi assist will activate and automatically switch to cellular so that the web page continues to load.
I mean, that's what I want.
Well, yeah, that's a good question.
Wi-Fi assist doesn't activate with some third-party apps that stream audio or video.
See,
there you
only
go.
works in Safari.
You know, your best your best bet, and I'm not an expert by any stretch. Just have internet.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds nice. I don't know. I would love to switch service providers, but
Well, you know, you could are any of the 5Gs testing in Boston? You could get a 5G hotspot and power your whole house on it.
Hotspot.
That's true. I could try that. We have Boston has Starry now that I don't know if anyone's aware of that from. They used to make like a router, but now they do like it's not 5G, but it is like it's like a sort of wireless high-speed internet thing where they like put an antenna on your building and you're like a peer in the mesh, and then like it like shoots around the city kind of.
Yeah, you should definitely try that. That sounds awesome.
It does sound cool. I signed up for the waiting list at one point, but I haven't got a thing. Every time I go on there, it says like it's not available in your building, but I can definitely. There is one of the Wi-Fi networks here is absolutely Starry now. I'm gonna look right now.
Now, didn't you do some sort of mesh connecty thing when you were in San Francisco?
Oh yeah, the microwave internet.
The microwave internet, right?
Yeah, there are two routers in this building that are called like uppercase Starry stuff, or two routers close enough to my computer to see. So it seems like it should be available. I think it's something like that, Dan. Like it's similar to that technology. Like that's how the peer antennas talk to each other. Because I don't know if you remember, but you could only get that ISP in San Francisco if you had like line of sight to their office or wherever their antenna was. And there was like a little like microwave receiver thing on the roof of our apartment.
Yeah, I've been Googling because you have T-Mobile, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've been Googling Verizon ultra wideband 5G. That's where you really get the speeds. And they do have it in Boston. You can get it for your home. If you have a Verizon mobile plan, it's $50 a month.
That's less than my internet now.
But wouldn't you have to be on one of those like streets that has the ultra wideband?
Yeah, they do ask for your address to confirm if it's available. So it may not be available in every home.
Do either of you have Verizon as your service provider?
I do through my business. My mother has Xfinity Mobile, which she pays $13 a month for, which is like insane.
Whoa.
It's a really good deal. And it uses Verizon's network.
That's fancy.
Yeah, I recommend. Now, of course, she's on the 1 gigabyte plan because she doesn't really use it. So that's but even unlimited, it's like $30 a month. That's pretty reasonable.
That is very reasonable. Is that like $30 a month if you also have Xfinity cable or something?
Yes, you have to have one Xfinity service to go with it. That's the gimmick. So, But I have that. So you can get T-Mobile at home internet as well.
Yeah, I've seen that.
But that's 4G. I don't know what kind of speeds that is.
Right there. I looked. I got an email about it, but they were super stingy on the details about the speed. So I don't know.
I think you may just have to go Amish. That's really the only solution to your problem.
Can you hear the? There's a person yelling at Siri in the other room.
I hear commotion.
Yeah, I hear commotion.
Yeah. I did get a HomePod Mini, unrelated.
Ah.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's going well.
Boom.
Yeah, it's like the Alexa stop of Siri. Siri, stop. But you have to say hey Siri, stop. That's the problem.
Right.
And that gets me every time because I just say like Siri, stop. It's so natural.
Yeah, and you can't be mad when you say hey, because like I want to yell at it, but I can't go, hey Siri, stop. You can't get away with that.
Yeah.
Did your phone go
Yeah,
off, Sean?
she said, there's nothing to stop here. Check if the device is on your home Wi-Fi network. Thank you for that. Very helpful.
What is your actual HomePod Mini review?
I like it so far. The timers seem to work well. Siri can hear you from really far away. Like I can speak. I don't. This is the thing everyone says about the HomePod, but I can talk to it from my bedroom like normal voice. It's in the kitchen and like it hears me. Given my apartment is not very big, but like it's pretty nice. She still does like there's still classic like. I found some web results for you, but now instead of now it's like I found I sent some web results to your iPhone. Like, thanks.
Even less useful.
I think it's supposed to be. I haven't tested out the like. It's supposed to be able to like recognize different people. So I'm not sure if it can send it to the correct iPhone based on the person who queried. The hold your phone near it thing to make the audio like make it switch to there like is cool when it works, but it doesn't work all the time. And I don't know if I'm doing it wrong. Like I don't know if there's a specific like incantation I'm supposed to do, but I've just been like smashing my phone against the speaker and it does usually work. And you can also take it back. That's the thing I like the most, weirdly enough, is like you can just do the same thing to like take the audio back onto your phone. I don't know why that's more satisfying, but so yeah, I'll continue to investigate. It's only been a couple days, but
now you've had other sort of speaker solutions in your home, yes?
Yeah, I had the Alexa. The thing that was nice about it, comparing it to Alexa, is like I didn't have to do anything. I plugged it in, and it like, I had to, it was like Apple Watch style. I had to like show my phone's camera the like flashing lights on the top of the HomePod, but then everything else just worked. Like it could already like turn off my lights. And
because I was curious about the audio quality.
It sounds pretty nice. It's like I don't think I'm a huge audio quality person, but I think it sounds pretty good. It's not super loud,
sure,
but I don't think it's like, I think it's as loud as you would expect it to be for what it is. And like, it does get loud. It just doesn't get like loud.
How you like it.
Yeah. Like when I like to rock out.
When you're head banging at 3 a.m. Nobody's
My neighbors hate me.
Yep.
Yeah. I get complaints from neighboring buildings.
Oh, that's good though.
Yeah.
That's good. You'll have to let us know your long-term thoughts. I've never bought a speaker device with the sole purpose of listening to it, and by that I mean like all of my like smart talkie things I bought for the smart talkie things, not for the music or audio part. But I finally invested in the most basic edition of a TV soundbar I could get. I picked up Roku has a new Stream Bar. I've dedicated myself my love of Roku, which is sort of like a mini sound bar. It's only about, it's like a loaf of bread size, maybe a little bit bigger. And so it's kind of a mini, and it's got a Roku built into it. And it does that HDMI ARC thing where it controls your TV over the HDMI.
Neat.
And I'm finally hearing TV for the first time. It sounds a lot better. I'm sure a real soundbar would sound even better, but it's an improvement over the built-in speakers, I'll say. Definitely is.
That's cool.
Now, Sean, speaking of home improvements for you, is there any resolution to your downstairs internet problem?
No, but I have a new problem also. So I didn't solve my
Nice.
first problem, but now I have a second problem that I'm on my way to solving.
So
I
now you
do.
have two
So
problems.
basically what I did, Dan, was I did these. I loved all the ideas, but I took the simplest route, which is just put all her stuff on my network, and it's been fine. Because she doesn't even use that much internet.
Mhm.
So problem solved. I just took the easiest solution. I'm just going to have one router for both of us.
Nice.
My new problem is heating the basement. So I'm trying to come up with a smart way. The issue is that, not to get too much into it, but it's only one zone, the whole house. The thermostat is upstairs. Downstairs, there's only, believe it or not, this is how they built this place, but there's only heat output in the kitchen area, but not in the living room or bedroom. And because it's in a basement, it can get cold. And so I could put in a fancy, expensive heating system, but I'm currently working on, I picked up some smart thermometers that are IFT enabled. And I'm trying to convince her to let me do this. I'm going to buy some small space heaters, put them on smart plugs. And so they automatically kick on when it hits a certain low temperature and kicks off when it hits a certain high temperature by room. Now, the downside to that is having space heaters on when you're not around, because they'll just kick on automatically, a potential fire hazard. So if someone has a better idea, I'll take it. But that was my first attempt at like building a heating system from scratch with like stuff you can find on Amazon.
Nice.
Now, is that what led into your pick for this?
No,
week,
I
Sean?
think that's just a good thing every house should have. But again, it's one of those things. Now that I have two people living here, two kitchens in my house, it's one of those things where I bought I can also at some point pick the smoke detectors I got, which are also very high tech now. I did not get like Nest. I got traditional smoke alarms, but now they all have their own custom wireless connection between them, which I don't know what range or what hertz that runs on. But now they all link to each other wirelessly. So when one alarm goes off, they all go off. And it'll shout at you very loudly what room the fire's in. So, fire detected in the guest bedroom. It's awesome.
Does it have like pre-programmed what room it's in, or do you get to record your own?
Now,
So is
that
it
would
like
be
fire
cool.
detected in the Sean's voice bedroom?
Well, that was always one of there was an SNL bit years and years and years ago of a smoke detector that played hits of the 80s. And when it went off and people were like enjoying it so much they wouldn't leave the house when it was on fire. But no, it has like 12 preset rooms, and every sound it makes is incredibly loud, and it does it on purpose. But even when you're setting it up, it's incredibly loud. So it's
God,
like,
yeah.
it's like, smoke detector enabled. Push the test button when the right room is named. Living room, kitchen, master bedroom. And it's so my ears were ringing. It's so loud. And I had to set up, I did 4 of them throughout the house that were all interconnected. So I had to set up 4 of them. Oh my God. It was, and then I had to like test the wireless, and I had all 4 sitting in front of me, and I tested one, and then all 4 started going off. It was just like nauseating. It was awful.
Do you
But
guys
they work.
do you guys remember I don't know if we ever talked about this on the show, but speaking of my San Francisco apartment, we had the smoke detectors we had as a convenience feature. You could point any infrared remote at them and just like press a button. Like
That's
if they
insane.
received an infrared signal, they would do test mode. Like it would like blur a couple times, and then there was a voice that would say fire detected or something, and then it would say this is a test, and then it would stop. But the obvious consequence of that is that anytime, like not anytime, but like 1 in 10 times that anyone anywhere in the house pressed a button on a TV remote, one of the smoke detectors would go into test mode.
That is such an incredible design flaw.
It was so terrible. We did eventually find a way to turn that off. Thank God. But at first it was just like it took a long time to figure out why it was happening.
That is absolutely insane.
Yeah. Good intentions, but boy, that was a bad idea.
Bad results.
Yep.
Well, I'll report back on how my smart heating adventure goes if I burn down my house. You'll be the first I let know, but I'll do it smartly.
Yeah. Don't they have space heaters now that are like, it's not like the inside of a toaster on the front. It's like
it's safer.
They look like a radiator, right?
Yeah.
It seems a little safer.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna make that work. It's just hard because what I really want is control and it's heat specifically in each room. That's what it is. So I can't have like one big heater. So I'm thinking if I get one small one in each area, and with a thermometer in each area, then it's like you're creating all these mini zones.
I don't know if you want a like actual project or if you just want the fastest thing possible. But my parents have like, they have been like working on the house that they're gonna like retire in or whatever, and they did like it's electric radiant heat in the floors.
Oh,
and it's
sure.
it's like that. It's like just this like I saw it when they were putting it in. It's just like a grid of like wires that goes under the flooring, but then like every room has a thermostat.
Oh, so they did it for the whole house.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I don't know. I don't know if it's expensive or not. Yeah.
I've definitely but that's interesting because I've heard of people doing it like in their bathrooms. It's pretty common because the tile gets really. I've never heard of anyone doing their whole house. That's awesome.
Yeah. I guess it's more like back in the day, there used to be all kinds of like back in the day, it used to be like water, like it would be like heated water that ran through tubes under the floor. And like, that was the thing a lot of people would do like just in the bathroom because it was nice in the bathroom. But I guess now they have like a more like accessible way to do it like through the whole house. And it's just like this electric like circuit thing that goes under all the floors.
That is cool.
Seems interesting. Yeah.
Now, are they going to hook that up to the internet and so you can roast their floors remotely? I
mean, I think I'll probably end up hooking it up to the internet for them at some point. Siri, stop!
Although I can just imagine, can you imagine the routine in your life where you get the smart shower, the smart floors, and in the morning you get up and the floors are already warm and the shower's already preheated and your towel's already warm. It's like a friggin' spa.
Sounds all right to me.
This is the smart home future that I actually
but
want.
They do. That's the thing is we're really close because they do have smart floors. They do have. Well, no, they have regular floors you can make smart. They do have a shower thing where you can preset a temperature and it'll be warmed up to it when you walk in. That exists. There are towel warmers you could hook up to a smart plug and turn on at a certain time. I mean, you can jerry rig it. You're right. There's no sort of one-stop shop on it.
Right. I'm so glad another problem that I had at my last apartment where like every time I turned on the shower, it was its own little optimization problem of trying to figure out exactly where today based on the season and who else happened to be running any water right now, the dial should be set to get the correct temperature. Because that's the thing. Like, that's the hard part. It's not just about like mapping the spots on the dial to temperatures. It's taking into account all the other things that could cause those things to shift around.
Yeah. That would be cool.
Someday. Someday, but we should
Someday.
talk about what's going on in tech right now. At least
Oh, yeah.
see what's in the news. We've got a number of stories. It's a quiet week because we're approaching a holiday here, so not a ton of news going on, but we got a couple stories in here, which we can talk about, or we can talk about none of them. But I'm going to leave it up to you two wonderful gentlemen to pick story number 1. No, I'm
No
just so
headlines.
lazy. I'm just so lazy.
That's all right. That's all right, Sean. I'm lazy too. I don't. I've
Well,
never
and it
written a
annoys
single
me because
headline
all
in
the
my
URL
life, so-
slugs like clearly tell you what the story is anyway. So,
Yeah.
okay. See, guys, this is the problem with the cat. Okay, can you see this? He's just sleeping on me. How am I supposed to do the goddamn show?
That's amazing. You know how many people would
Not a-
kill to have a cat that would.
This
It
cat
would go
weighs
anywhere
14
near them,
pounds. He's
never
a
mind
big
sleep
boy.
on their shoulder.
Look at him. He's like, I'm gonna need a neck brace after this.
Now this might be a tough story to do, but I think we should try to do Windows Turns 35.
Oh boy, I hope we're up for it. Yes, let's talk about Windows Turns 35. You basically said it. The first version launched on November 20th, 1985 to succeed to follow up on MS-DOS. And yeah, it's been a long time. I don't know. Is there any particular parts of this you want to touch on? Of course.
What was the first computer you ever had?
Our
Sean?
family had a compact,
What did it look like?
which ran.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. Probably 3 or 3.1. I think I don't date back to like the DOS days or anything
Whoa.
like that.
How about you, Colby?
Windows 95 is the first Windows I remember using.
Was that the first computer you had?
I think so. Like, I remember it was like not a family computer. It was like my mom used it for work mostly, if I recall correctly. But I remember doing Paint once in a while on the
Damn.
and like Minesweeper or Solitaire when as a small child when you like had no idea what was happening, so it wasn't fun at all.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that the other day. Like, Minesweeper was so inscrutable to me as a kid.
Right.
Like, this game's impossible. And just the other day, I was watching someone maybe play it on Twitch or something, and I was like, wait a second, this game is so simple. And then I was like, how did I play Donkey Kong as a kid and win? Because in a lot of ways, Donkey Kong is a more
Right.
complicated game than Minesweeper. But I guess that's the beauty of interfaces. Like, the interface to Donkey Kong was a lot more intuitive than Minesweeper.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
For me, I'm pretty sure I have the picture of this box. I think our first computer was the Mac 2 SE. So that I skipped the Windows 3.1 era altogether. Then the next one was Windows 95. So yeah, I also like all these pictures in this article of the kind of terminal looking Windows interface. I've never saw that. But I do have fond memories of the Windows 95 interface, and I don't think the Windows 95 interface was that bad.
Let's do a quick poll. This Verge article we're looking at has screen grabs of all the different. What is the worst looking version of Windows? And we'll start at 95 forward because they all have the start menu. They
okay.
they're a little more consistent at that point. But what is the straight up ugliest?
I'm scrolling through
I
right
have
now.
so I'll start and I will say the question is, what do you think about Windows 8? Because that was when they just basically threw out the start menu and was like, screw it, we're just going with tiles. And it is definitely ugly, but at least it's radically different, and I give them that. I think the most
I think it looks
but
pretty,
it's a good
though.
design for what it is. That's why I would say my pick is probably Vista, where they had that first, like, what they call it, aero glass, where it was that sort of like glassy structure that got good in Windows 7, but was kind of crappy in Vista.
I think from a modern day aesthetic, my pick would be Windows
Yeah.
XP. Like it does look
It
very
does.
Fisher Price. I prefer
Yeah.
Vista to
That's what I
XP.
was gonna say too, Dan. The just looking. I don't think it fazed me at the time, but looking back,
It's very cartoony.
janky. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. We used that for a long time.
Yeah. Windows XP.
Yeah, a long
I feel like that was
time.
most of like school, most of like pre-college school I remember doing on a computer was on Windows XP.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I don't even think I used Vista that long. I think I went right
Yeah,
from
'cause-
XP pretty much to 7. I used Vista for a year or two, but
Do they still have the control panel?
oh, absolutely. And that's what's weird about Windows 10 these
Yes.
days is they have both control panel and settings. And you're like, but why both? And it's a Windows 8
Yes.
holdover where they created the settings just for Windows 8, but they couldn't get rid of the control panel. So
Yeah, it's one of those things, Colby, where you know you've ever worked on a
Yeah.
website and then there's a new design, but you can't convert the entire website to the new design, so you just do the
Yeah.
most popular stuff. The settings app is only the big hits. You got your
your
Wi-Fi, you got your
displays and your
sound,
printers and all that.
displays, uninstall programs. But after that, like device manager is like now you're like back. You are back in control panel aesthetic once you go to device manager.
Oh my god.
But I this is another thing. I went on the Wikipedia article for the settings app recently because I completely missed Windows 8. So I was like, where did this thing come from? But they actually added to it in Windows 10. And apparently the deal is that eventually Control Panel will go away and it will just be the settings app. The settings app is definitely
Mhm.
better than Control Panel in my view.
See, that's
The
one thing
search
I
is
never
so
use,
nice.
and I'm also the nerd who I never liked. I'm a big, obviously, start menu is a big part of using Windows, but after 7, I never really liked the start menu. So I actually use, and I picked it on the show before, Start 10, which is the start menu replacement that sort of makes it
Yes.
more Windows 7-y, which I like a lot. I didn't like all the tiles they brought into the start menu for 10.
But I don't use those buttons at all. Much like how I don't use the dock on Mac OS,
Yeah.
I only use Spotlight. When I'm using Windows, I don't use the start menu.
Yeah,
I
I
just
gotta
press
remember that's
Windows
a
and
thing.
start typing.
Hmm.
It's great. Actually, now that I think about it, this is the same way I use iOS too. Just swipe down and start typing. Don't bother look apps on the home screen. What? What else? What else is in this article?
Remember defragmenting?
Yeah. Are we still supposed to do that? I
Yeah.
haven't done it in a while.
I don't know.
No.
Can
you're
you
not
still do it,
supposed
though?
To do it. The reason I mean it's Windows. I'm sure that the program is still there. So, Sean and Colby, I don't know if you ever took this class, but
Yeah.
oh yeah, in OS we talked about this, right? Like hard drives are laid out sequentially, starting at like byte 0 to byte whatever, 5 terabyte, whatever it is. And on a actual hard drive where the disk spins, you have this little arm like a record player that needs to hit the part of the disk that you're trying to read. And the only way to get there is to like move the disk to the part where it is. So what defragmenting did was it made it so all of the parts of a program, because programs would not be stored sequentially for various reasons. Because imagine this, right? You have a 5 terabyte hard drive. You store 1 terabyte's worth of files on it, and then you delete half of them. Now you want to store a 4 terabyte program. It's like, well, there's no space after where you stopped writing before, but there is space in between. So then you write in there. But then the problem with the spinning disk is if you want to load that, this is a bad example. There is no 4 terabyte program, but if there was, and you wanted to load it, you would have to jump around through all like the in-between bits in that first part to like seek the little record player to each bit. So what defragmenting did was it reordered everything so that things were like next to each other, physically next to each other. But with SSDs,
Well, my
none of that
SSD is
matters
12%
anymore.
fragmented. I just ran an analysis.
Shit, man.
Well,
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
you say that now. Wait until
It's
I
funny that it tells
defragment
you
it.
that.
This thing's going to be blazing. And by the way, I did use a third-party defragmentation software I still have installed and have not used in God knows how long. Shout out to the fine folks at Defragler. I believe it's the same company that makes CCleaner and a few other really great Windows utilities. I believe that's them. Defragler.
Defragler.
They do Specky, which is like a search app. Recuva, which is like a recovery app for deleted files. They have like a whole suite. And it says new version. Click to download. It tells you the last time I defragmented. I'll do that later.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think it is kind of a bummer because they've basically said, more or less, that there's not going to be any more versions of Windows. It's just going to be permanent updates to Windows 10, and that really bums me out because I think there is something really nice about like I give Mac credit, like they still have, even if it is the cheesy names, like at least you could say, oh, what version are you running? Oh, I'm on High Sierra, or I'm on Big Sur, or I'm on whatever. Now we're just all on Windows 10.
Just Windows 10 forever.
Just living on Windows 10.
It's all Windows 10. Always has been. Yeah, I hadn't heard that, but that it makes sense. It's just a much easier.
Well,
way to do
everyone
things
runs
in
Windows,
the
you know.
internet age. Now the real question is, when is Windows gonna? Although you know what this implies is that all Windows updates will be free.
But they've always been
Have
free.
I said that? Did we do that story?
I mean, sort of. The issue
Oh,
is when they just stop supporting old versions and that sort of thing.
No, but
Yeah, it used to come in a
have to
box.
pay money
Yeah,
to
the
get Windows Vista if
pre-internet
you're on
days. No,
Windows
the
XP.
pre-internet days. You're right. I remember getting Windows
Yeah.
Millennium Edition on like 18 CDs. But no. Ever since, I mean, I do know for a fact my Vista was upgraded to 7 for. No, that one I paid for. Vista to 7, I think I paid like $50 for. But after 7
Yeah.
to 8 was free, and then it was 8.1, and then it was 10, and it's been free since via Windows Update. But that was also back when they used to have like, remember when they had, I have to look up all the versions of Windows XP, because that was back when they had like 36 flavors of each operating system, where it was like
Yes.
Pro Edition, Pro Super Edition,
Home, Media Center, Pro Ultimate, Pro Platinum
absolutely
Experience.
wild. I think Vista was the worst. Vista had a lot of flavors. But editions, Windows Vista editions. There's a whole Windows Vista Starter, Windows Vista Home Basic, Windows Vista Home Premium, Vista Business, Vista Enterprise, Vista Ultimate, and that doesn't even include, like you said,
Ultimate,
Vista
right.
home version and Media Center. Yep.
Entertainment or Media Center.
Yep, very easy for users to understand, of course.
Media Center.
Yep.
Wild.
Yep. If you wanted Windows Movie Maker, you had to get Home Premium. Anyway, that's the history of Windows. Happy 35th birthday to Windows. May you continue to make mediocre operating systems forever. Let's see what else is in the news. What?
Oh, you know what we never really did? I used Windows full time for several months.
Are you
I guess
okay?
we never really did a debrief on that.
Okay, I was worried.
Yeah, I'm okay. I think my review is that when it's never been a less bad time to use Windows. I'll put it that way. I do think it's the best it's ever been. My high level review is like it's nice. the nice thing about Windows is you never have to ask like, oh, will I be able to do this here? You can do everything. You can run Linux in Windows with the Windows subsystem for Linux, and that works really well. You can play games on it, like pretty much any app that you want to use is on Windows. The things that aren't great. Oh, and my other favorite thing is that I like the Windows window management. Like the fact that they have the little split thing built in is like, come on, Mac, when you get with the program here, no one does the full screen split thing. We want an easier way to do it. The thing that surprised me, that kind of sucked, was still like the Windows Store. If you can buy things on the Windows Store, or not buy, I didn't buy anything on the Windows Store, but if you can install things from the Windows Store, that's great. So many things aren't on the Windows Store, and they all like. I'm still surprised today at how many things there's no auto update. It's like, oh, just like hear that there's a new version, and then go to our website and download this exe and reinstall it. It's like, what? That's like so out of date. And I think the flip side of that is that there's the like Windows app ecosystem is for some things pretty bare bones. Like I was trying to find a Markdown editor for Mac. Like an editor is just really good at Markdown. It like lets me export it in different ways, and it does like syntax highlighting. I can preview it, and it was pretty bare bones on Windows. And maybe if anyone knows a better one, please let me know. I ended up using this one called Carrot, Carot. But on like Mac and even Linux, those things like they're everywhere. So that was my review of using Windows. Yeah, Carrot.io. I'll put this in the show notes. That was my review of using Windows for 3 months. It's great. It's great. It's not my favorite. Oh, and I like the Mac like process model better, where it's like, hey, apps can still keep running in the background after you close the window, and then you can like really close them. On Windows, I was always like closing windows and then like starting like VS Code and being like, oh right, okay, God, it has to like do all this crap now because I accidentally closed the last window that was open because I was resetting things and doing something else. But Windows, better than it used to be, the best it's ever been, and yeah, it was fine. I would use Windows. If someone was like, Dan, you have to use Windows for work, I'd be like, okay. Now, notably, I was not doing this on a laptop, so I don't know if like connecting to external displays and Wi-Fi sucks on Windows.
I will just ask you this quick question, because now that I've been using Macs for 2 years on the regular for work, you have an interesting sort of software expert's perspective on it. Finder versus Windows File Explorer. I find I like some things on one, some things on the other, but given the choice, I think Windows File Explorer is better. Your thoughts?
That's a tough one. I think I like Windows File Explorer 2, and its killer feature for me is being able to click in that like navigation bar and getting the file path. And that's like not something that most people care about. But to go from a Finder window to like pasting this path into some code is surprisingly difficult.
It's a lot more robust.
I like that about Windows. Otherwise, it's mostly the same. Search kind of sucks on both of them. Like I search for things on my Windows PC, it takes forever.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't really use like I don't have a lot of files. Most of my files have moved up to the cloud, and I think we've talked about this. I haven't transferred a file from one computer, like when I've gotten a new computer, I haven't transferred files since college. I don't even have Dropbox. Like anything I write goes in Google Cloud. Anything I take a picture of is in iCloud Photo Library, and all my code's on GitHub, and all my like game saves are on Steam Cloud Backup. Thank God for that. That would be a nightmare. That was a nightmare before that was a thing. So as a result, like my file management happens in Google Docs a lot more than it does Windows File Explorer, which is a shame because file management in Google Docs sucks so much. Oh God. How can a company that makes a search engine be so bad at searching for documents?
Yeah. It's wild to me that they've convinced large companies to use
bizarre.
that as like a it's like a
Google Docs.
a way of like sharing information with the whole company.
Here's the thing. Google Docs, I've used Airtable, I've used Notion recently. Notion is super interesting. I feel like there was another one I used. But nothing beats Google Docs for like some people are typing in a document at the same time. Like Airtable, it takes a while for the updates to show up, and in Notion, everything is like noticeably slows down. Like it's clearly a React app, and it's like, oh wait, hang on, like getting some stuff from the network, gotta update that, and I'll get around to your like mouse input. So go ahead.
Well,
Office
Dan,
365.
I might challenge you because I might have a good
Yes.
Google Docs alternate for you.
Office.com. I've never used Office.com.
Office.com. Office 365. It's getting better by the day is how I would describe it. It was bad. Now it's good. I think it will be great. And they've really done a great job of integrating all of the interactive features. The downside is, obviously, other people have to be on the platform for it to work. I work at a company that is Office 365 integrated, so it works exceptionally well because then you save it to the OneDrive, and then it syncs to your Windows machine, and it does all kinds of fancy stuff. But the online versions of Word and PowerPoint and Excel are
Now here's the
actually
other thing.
pretty good. The issue is I
Right.
think
Like,
they're
the
going to
other
hit you
thing
up for
about
money,
Google
though.
Docs
That's
that
the
is-
problem.
That is
But I think it's like
brilliant is if you're a
$5 a
company
month.
and you want to share some information with another company, you just like make that Google Drive link public and you're good to go.
Right. But that's also bad if you're a company who doesn't want their information
That's
shared when
true.
your employees
Fair
can make
enough.
the links public.
But that's a big use case for me is like I want to make an agenda doc and I'm going to be having a meeting with an external vendor and I just want them to be able to see
Sure.
it and I want them to be able to edit it. And I'm not saying this as like a gotcha.
But that's when you integrate with Teams and you get the whole Microsoft ecosystem.
But can you do that?
and you
Like,
just
have you
live in
done
it,
stuff
and
like
it's-
that? Can you make a Office Cloud? No, a Office Cloud Word document public, or like, can you invite people outside of your org to be editors on it? Do you know?
I believe if you create a personal account, you
Mhm.
can. Because we're SSO enabled through Microsoft with my company, it is limited to only people within the organization on purpose. But if for a personal account, yeah,
So
you certainly
if
can. Or if
you
your company
had a
allows it. Again,
paid
that's
Microsoft
the advantage.
365 account or whatever they call it. You could make a doc and give me access to it, and then I would not have to pay for Office 365 to edit that doc with you. Okay.
I don't know. You're asking me
All right,
questions
that's fine.
above and beyond my level of knowledge. But I will say that Office is anywhere from $7 to $10 a month for not only all of the Word, Excel, PowerPoint, but you also get OneDrive, you get
Sorry,
Skype
did you say
minutes,
Skype
and it's available on all your
minutes?
devices.
Minutes?
Yeah.
So, for what it's worth.
Skype minutes.
Yes, you get
Units of Skype.
what is the exact amount of Skype you get? You get Skype.
You know, you've heard
Some
of it.
things.
You love it. Skypes.
Yeah, Skypes. You get 10 Skypes. No,
That's
you do.
weird.
It is like a certain number of like credits towards minutes a month, believe it or not. People I think still do that. I'm not sure. Could not tell you. I mean, I'm still paying for our phone number, so what a waste of money. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead, and unless there's a story you really want to talk about,
Can we
it's about
quickly hit
time
that
to
Apple
move
story,
on
the
to
the
picks.
small business thing?
Oh,
Yeah, just like Apple.
Absolutely, we support small businesses here at Don't Panic. That's right. After quite the kerfuffle around their 30% cut on the apps, Apple on Wednesday announced a reduction to its long-standing commission rate. The new App Store small business program will allow any developer who earns less than $1 million in annual sales per year from all of their apps to qualify for a reduced App Store cut of 15%, which is half of that 30% fee, on all paid app revenue and in-app purchases. They say the vast majority of iOS app developers should be able to access the program. Last year, the App Store generated an estimated $50 billion in revenue. According to an analytics company report, an estimated 98% of developers would be eligible for the 15% cut, but those developers generated just 5% of the App Store's total revenue last year.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast, ATP, and I thought they made an interesting point, which is like this is such a brilliantly crafted PR move because it provides the most PR benefit, because the most benefit to the most number of people, really, at the least cost to Apple. And it doesn't and I'm sure this is addressed at the increasing regulatory pressure they're facing, but all the regulatory pressure they're facing is from Google with the Stadia stuff and Epic Games and Spotify, all of whom would decidedly not qualify for this under $1 million thing. So it's brilliant in that way, but I don't know if this fixes anything. But if I was an App Store developer, I would probably be not making $1 million, and I would be very happy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I read an interesting article where it's like the difference between making 1 million and making 1.2 million is paying for that extra 15%.
Yes.
So it's like if you're close to making $1 million, maybe you should make your
take it
app
off
free
the
for a little
store,
while
yeah.
or something like that. But no, it's if it's like November and it's a calendar year thing. No, it's you're exactly right, Dan. I mean, this is without a doubt a PR thing that doesn't actually address their problem, because small app developers were never going to sue them or take their wildly popular platform off of iOS. That's not their problem. It just makes them look good, and if it costs them $1 billion a year, they can afford it. Even though I don't think it will be nearly that much. So
maybe I should get.
I guess it's good for small developers. More power to them, but
apps.
Yeah.
Shit.
You're just figuring
Smartphones
that
are the
out.
future, guys.
You're like, I think these apps are really going places. The future's in apps. Oh man, we're going to touch everything. No, well, it is interesting what's going to happen once M1 starts being widely available and apps are cross-compatible. What that means for developers, I would think in-app purchases are certainly going to skyrocket with the more use of these apps.
When we talked about this last week, did we have that benchmark of the benchmark around apps that are emulating x86 are still? I think we did. Are still faster than. Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing we didn't have last week was all of the reviews that came out when the embargo dropped. That said, this is like an incredible computer.
Wait, can we do a quick follow up on that? Didn't you
everything.
have some follow ups or maybe some mea culpas after those reviews dropped? Because you were concerned that the actual experience of using it would kind of suck. Am I remembering that right?
I was my whole thing was Apple promised the world, can they deliver on it? And I think I said this in our Slack when one of you posted you posted the benchmarks, and I said my ratings on this are going from cautiously optimistic to kind of excited. And I think what's exciting about it to me is it's not the battery life. It's not the power. It's not any of these things. It's the $999 starting price. And I know that sounds crazy, but comparing it to Windows, right? A $999 Windows PC is like a good computer. It's not even a great computer. Like, it's a good computer. Like, it won't break, but you really aren't getting anything blazing at that point. For the entry-level MacBook Air at $999 to blow out of the water not only every other computer, but even all of Mac's computers in some of these benchmarks, I think is incredibly powerful. And that's what makes me excited, is you're not paying $3,000 for the privilege of owning this computer, which wouldn't have surprised me if they did that. That's what I'm excited about, is at a $999 price point, or even at $12.99 or whatever, you're getting a computer that should cost much more than that. That excites me.
It's exciting times.
I know I kind of get this like high in excitement when Apple releases a new product, but I'm looking at these MacBook Airs like, because I haven't had a laptop in a long time. I've only ever had the desktop now for like 5 years. And I'm like, by the way, I just ordered a brand new huge desk and all kinds of fun stuff. I'm pimping out the studio. Get excited. But I'm like, oh man, you know what would look really good on that desk? An M1 MacBook Air.
It would probably be fat. It would be faster than your desktop.
Good. I'm sure. Oh my god, not even close. My desktop struggles to do the show. It's 6 years old. It's got to be upgraded. But it's just going to be. I just think that computer's going to be really, really cool. I mean, but again, it's that kind of thing where it's like, I don't use a lot of software. Like, even for a Windows guy, like, I kind of do everything in the browser. Now we're trying out this new streaming platform and podcast platform that's in the browser, right? Amazing. So even if M1 isn't compatible with stuff, it doesn't matter because it all lives in the browser.
It's an internet communicator. You're getting it.
It's a phone.
It's all JavaScript and
it's
always has been, Sean.
I'm going to hop on the train, man. It's really tempting. Now I just need to win the lottery or something. Guys, let's talk about our picks here real quick. We got a couple picks here in the rundown. I'm going to go first because mine is pretty darn straightforward. It's a fire extinguisher. Do you guys have a fire extinguisher in your homes? You don't know? Well, that's not good. Well, if you don't have one, I recommend you get one. I picked up 2 for my house because I have 2 kitchens. The First Alert standard home fire extinguisher. I like that they say it comes in red, even though it comes in no other colors. And it costs $20. It's a small one. It's not a big one. But if you don't have a big space, I think this will do you fine. It's the Wirecutter's pick, believe it or not. No surprise there. And for $20, I think it's a good, a good amount of protection to have for your home. So we'll have the link on the website. You can check it out there. But be fire safe. Make sure you have smoke detectors. Check your batteries. Make sure you have a fire extinguisher and you know your exits. Fire safety. Dan, you got some links in here.
The link to that Markdown editor I use for Windows, but my real pick is this. Is It Snappy iPhone app? So what this is you open up the app and it brings up your camera, and you take a video of something. Now, let's say I wanted to measure the latency on my desktop computer monitor. I would position the video viewfinder such that it sees a mouse or the keyboard as well as the screen. And then you take a video of yourself clicking the mouse or pressing the button and then waiting for the screen to show up, and it uses the the slow-mo camera, and then you press stop when you think you've captured it, and then it gives you this cool UI where you can mark where you press the button in the video timeline and mark where it showed up, and it'll tell you oh, you have 50 milliseconds of delay or whatever. And you could do this for anything that you want to measure latency on. Your phone, I guess you need another phone, like iPads, TVs, just human reaction time. It's pretty cool. It's free. It works really well. isitsnappy.com.
Why?
That is wild.
Well, for this Super Smash Bros. Game I'm super into, there's been a lot of talk recently about how to get your monitor to be as low latency as possible, and I was curious. I supposedly had a 144 hertz monitor, but I was curious exactly how low latency was it. And I think that turns out the answer was 50 milliseconds. Let me see. Yeah, about
Nice.
exactly 50 milliseconds, which is pretty good. That's 1/8 of a second, I think. 200 milliseconds is a fifth. Oh no, so like a tenth of a second? Yeah, a tenth of a second. Not bad. I'll take it.
Very cool.
I kept
Is
hearing
it snappy?
people talk about the Ted Lasso
check it
show
out.
on Apple
Colby.
TV. So I started watching it. It's really good. I haven't finished yet. I have like 4 episodes left. But it's like, I mean, it's a comedy. It's funny, but it's like weirdly feel good, kind of. Like sad stuff happens, but like you still feel good. I don't know. It's nice. It's yeah, I'm enjoying it. I don't know how it ends, so don't tell me. Yeah.
I cannot believe how well they pull off the feels good. I mean, really, it's upsetting how like you keep waiting for that turn where something like evil is, or like, oh, there was an evil plan the whole time, or like there's something. It's like, no, it's just. I mean, there's, like you said, there's sad stuff, but it's just feel good.
For sure, it's great.
Also, Jason
Worth the
Sudeikis is
Apple
a
TV
national
Plus
treasure.
$5 for a month or something to watch.
I love myself as Sudeikis.
Is that your version of the Worth the Calories Great British Bake Off?
I
Well,
never got a free year of Apple TV in the first place.
Because you got your phone on the
I
Apple
got,
upgrade
like, the
plan. Do you get
trial
another
at the
free year of
beginning.
Apple TV?
Like just the 3
What?
weeks or a month or I don't know, some amount of time, but not a year.
I don't know, Sean, because I got that like 3-month extension.
Because I got a new phone from my company after Apple TV launched. I'm still on my year free.
Because didn't they announce that there was now you're going to get a free year of Apple Arcade if you bought a new phone or something?
Yeah, they keep changing now with the Apple One subscription. I'm not quite sure what
where
you
the
do
hell
and
is
don't
the
get.
fitness thing? We're entering into some air power territory here.
Oh, they said it was launching like later in
Yeah, but there's
2020.
basically like 2 weeks
didn't
left
they?
in 2020.
They didn't like.
You're not
Did they
gonna
put a
launch it
date?
next week? You're not going to launch it.
We got there.
It's going to be a
between Christmas
Christmas
and New
surprise.
They need that like
You got to work
I don't
off all
know.
those calories.
It seems like a New Year's thing. Or it seems like
Yeah,
PR wise,
that's
it could
one
be like New Year's fitness thing.
They say-
I don't know, but maybe you want that before Christmas. I don't know.
There's 38
Minus
days
14.
left in the month, so they still have time.
We did it.
Okay, guys, that's the end of the show. We sure did. Anything you guys would like to talk about or plug before we wrap up?
No.
Here?
I'm still. You just reminded me. I'm still upset that AirPower hasn't shipped yet. I haven't gotten my new Bluetooth tiles, and it's not that big a deal because I'm not going anywhere. But, god damn.
Yeah, I feel for you. We all feel for you, Dan.
In fact, it would be
But
tiles are basically useless right now because the only reason I lose things is I lose them in a small space. And if I had AirTags and they could like put the little AR view and like the little pointer pointing into the couch, be so good.
well, at the rate Apple is announcing, like having a bunch of little announcements every month, you could have it in a couple months. Who knows?
I'm holding out for hope for that January
They're
announcement.
spacing
now.
them out.
Yeah.
That would surprise
yeah.
me. Not that close to, but like, that February, March. I mean, we never got the over-the-ear
Yes.
headphones either that we were supposed to get. So, but guys, while you're waiting, you got to check out Up for Debate. Matt wanted me to tell you both, by the way, co-host over on Up for Debate, that I convinced him. He says he listens to podcasts in the car and when he's eating lunch, and I said, you should try Don't Panic. And he did, and he's a big fan, and he really likes it. But in classic Matt fashion, he's a couple weeks behind and catching up. And I'm like, it's kind of like of the week stuff. Like, you don't... So he asked me, he was on the episode we were talking about Dan traveling to the Pacific Northwest. And he's like, what happens on next week's episode?
Somebody
I'm
needs
like,
it. Maybe we should
talk about Joe
Matt
Biden
on and
winning
help
the
him,
election.
Like, configure his podcast thing to
not hard to
only keep
figure
the
out.
most recent episode of Don't Panic.
I would desperately love to have Matt on, but if you'd like to hear Matt, he and I are doing Up for Debate. And last week and the second half this week, I'm picking a new NFL team, guys. I'm picking a new home team. I'm ditching the Patriots. Last week we did the AFC, and I'm down to 4 teams in the AFC. We're going to do 4 and 4 and then pick a winner from those. The Miami Dolphins, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Houston Texans, or the Los Angeles Chargers.
I don't know, man. I mean, I listen.
How do we get to those 4? Colby's not impressed. So it was a mess, but it was great, and people should check it out. And this week we're doing the NFC. So upfordebate.tv, wherever you get podcasts. You can also get this show, don'tpanic.io, is that website. Links to the picks, the audio, the video, This Week in Pickstory, which is always a lot of fun. And of course, you can subscribe wherever you get podcasts or check out the video on YouTube. You can also reach us at don'tpanicshow@gmail.com or tweet at us at don'tpanicshow. Guys, that 'tis the end. For now, but what's great is we'll be back next week. So on behalf of Colby and Dan, I'm Sean. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next time for another great edition of Don't Panic.